back to the 5. Well, people have been talking about the genius and impact of Apple co-founder Steve Jobs since he passed away recently. But not that much was known about his personal life until now. A highly anticipated biography hit bookstores today, and there's some fascinating information in it. Greg, you're a big Steve Jobs fan.
Well, a lot of interesting things out of this. There was something about how Steve Jobs was disappointed in President Obama, saying he didn't want to offend anyone. And there's a lot of tidbits that are kind of creating this picture that Steve Jobs is a jerk. And some people have said it. Jonah Goldberg wrote a piece on it saying he's a jerk. My feeling is I would rather have a jerk that changes the lives of billions of people for the better than a nice guy who does nothing. And generally, most of the people that do great things in this world are prickly and because they're perfectionists and they don't suffer incompetence, and that comes off as being a jerk. We need more jerks. We need less nice guys.
So you relate to him?
I'm a nice person.
You are.
Walter Isaacson is the author of this book, and I'm proud to call him a friend and a colleague because he's a chairman of the Broadcasting Board of Governors. And I knew that he was working on this book very hard. He's also the chairman of the Aspen Institute, so he's got a lot going on in his life. What's interesting is that when he was first called to be the biographer, he did not know that Steve Jobs had pancreatic cancer, and so
he turned him down, right? He turned Jobs down initially,
and then he went back around, and now he gave this very candid interview to 60 Minutes, which is pretty illuminating.
Yeah, I think his wife Jobs' wife finally called Isaacson and said, if you want to get this done, do it now because he's very sick.
All right, we have a piece of sound on this from Isaacson. Go ahead.
I used to run one of the best restaurants in Silicon Valley. Everybody used to come there. Even Steve Jobs used to eat there. And Mona's sort of taken aback and bites her tongue and doesn't say, Steve Jobs is your son. But she looks shocked, and he says, yeah, he was a great tipper.
And I was in that restaurant once or twice, and I remember meeting the owner, who was from Syria, and it was most certainly him. And I shook his hand, and he shook my hand, and that's all.
And Jobs never spoke to him, never talked to him, never got in touch with him.
Walter Isaacson is a great storyteller, isn't he?
Okay, so here's the deal. So, welcome to the 5.
Thank you very much.
You're Bob Beckel, and we're talking about
but what
Steve
was
Jobs.
that whole exchange?
So this is basically, because of his father, right? Remember how he was put up for adoption, and his biological father never set up a meeting, but he did in fact meet him because he had a restaurant, and he went in there, and he actually saw him, met him, and the whole deal.
Did he know it was his old man?
Recounting the tale.
That was the point.
And he's from Syria. That was the whole quote from
that
Jobs.
is prickly right there.
We should do story summaries like this all the time.
He talks about Bill Gates, the other, the richest man in the world. And you have to remember, he said, oh, he's not creative, he's not innovative, he never really invented anything. Well, the guy revolutionized computing, personal computing, but it kind of goes to show that two billionaires, two extremely smart people, and neither one taking shots at each other. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't get along.
But isn't it true about Silicon Valley? Wasn't that always the rap on them, that they always were so competitive with one another, these geniuses, that they always were dumping on each other? For example, I dump on you during the show, but I love you, so I don't dump on you after the show. These people apparently do it all the time, right?
Yeah, they're
It's quite a soap opera. We could actually have a reality TV show based on Silicon Valley. It'd be good, like Big Brother, but
did you see the other thing in the book about Bill Clinton sought the advice of Steve Jobs regarding the Monica Lewinsky scandal?
Yeah, that's a weird. That's a weird one.
Call, right?
Like if I was in the middle of a scandal, I don't think I would think, oh, I'm going to call Bill Gates and see what he thinks I should do.
No,
I'd call Bob Beckel.
Yes, he should have called me. May have. You never know.
I would do that if I was up late at night drinking.
Yeah,
when something was bothering you.
Anytime you need that, I'd be happy to take your phone.
I'm going to call Jobs.
Oh, Jobs, yeah.
I'll call you, Bob.
What amazing access this guy had to Steve Jobs, who clearly, he was so secretive about every little, the iPhone, the iPad, the iTunes, everything was a secret, yet this guy's had.
I think it was almost as if Steve Jobs understood that he had an amazing role in history, and that he was willing for somebody to come in like a Walter Isaacson to peel back the curtain. And it was unfettered access, and it was also very candid. There was no sugarcoating.
But don't you think when you know something, the guy knows he's going to die, right? And he wants to, because he knows he's left such a mark on history, why not get it out, right?
Yeah.
Well, also interestingly, he said that he had 9 months of natural treatments instead of going for the chemical treatment, and that Walter Isaacson said he does think that he may have regretted that because the cancer got worse during that time.
Somebody wasn't watching the 5 on Friday because that was my monologue.
It was, yeah.
I was on a plane. That was my excuse, and I'm so sorry I missed it.
Okay, you guys, let's talk about another book.
We air at 2 a.m. Eastern.
So Condi Rice has a book that's coming out. It's going to be released November 1st called No Higher Honor. So, and this is a book, you know, that comes on the heels of course, Dick Cheney and Rumsfeld's book. And, you know, it's very voluminous, shall we say, but interesting nonetheless. Dana, you have some thoughts on it?
She's one of the most amazing women in American history. She has a book out next week that's about 675 pages, just about her time as Secretary of State. But she has been through so much, and I am honored to call her friend. I was delighted to be able to work with her. She's got some interesting insights for anybody that was interested in politics over the last several years, but also about how she helped shape foreign policy, in particular in the second term.
She also, I thought it was interesting that her concerns about Katrina, where she was up in New York and she took a little bit of a PR beating for being up here doing something, she immediately went back to Washington and got involved in that. The other thing that I found interesting was, and this is not a shot at George W. Bush, but she had the foresight to know that you needed more troops on the ground in Iraq in the post-war era. And the generals didn't want to do that. So that she finally got a meeting together with Bush and the generals.
In February 2003.
And President Bush said what he should have said was, Condi's concerned about the troops. What's going on? And of course, what the generals do, whenever they hear that is, well, that means the boss isn't, so I'm out from underneath this one. Those generals deserve to owe her an apology because she was exactly right. And there was 3 years of Secretary of War.
Doesn't every man eventually say she was exactly right?
Yeah. No.
You know what I learned from the book? I learned after disaster, when you hear about a disaster, don't go see Spam a lot.
Okay, wow, weird.
What is Spam a lot?
It was a musical. That's
that
what
was the problem. Or how about don't go see it?
Nobody read the article.
Eric, you have
No, I was just pointing out that quirky relationship with Gaddafi. I mean, what was going on there?
Oh, I remember. He wrote her love poetry and everything. He was a total creep. And I remember one of the things was, don't ever send me there again.
Can you imagine what Gaddafi in that freezer? I mean, come on, man.
Okay.
They got Mao still on the wax, you know, but I mean.
Here's where it gets weird and wacky.
Well, that's,
I can't.
I mean, seriously, you have them hanging up. It's like something out of Goodfellas. You know, hang them up with the. Yeah, right.
Get it.
That's
Throttle
what
back, Bob.
the mafia used to do that.
Coming up, you've heard of the Grinch who stole Christmas? Well, how about the superintendent who stole Halloween? What? Oh, yeah. She's a real person, and we're going to talk to you all about him next on The Five. Stay with us.